Hey everyone, weekly update video. Didn't get a chance to do it on Sunday. TradingView was acting very weird, and then I got very busy. So let's just jump right into it. I'll be covering, the usual Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol, and then we'll jump into a few coins that have been trading really well, volatility-wise and PA-wise, and the charts look fantastic for a high time frame level. Now, let's talk about the art of the deal, right? Commander Cheeto's intimidation tactic that, was basically useless, in my opinion. Putting all these tariffs on countries to get them to, uh, negotiate with you. Basically, uh, January through March was useless. All right. Um, putting these tariffs on them and then backing away, like from your say, and the economic advisor to Trump, saying, "Oh, these are actually going to happen." He's not backing away from it. Then, literally, less than 12 hours after they go into effect, he pauses them. He's a coward. He's toying with people's money. But outside of politics, let's take a look at the charts now. This market, although high time, if you're scalping, you have to be very mindful of what Commander Cheeto is going to be saying. All right, he's not getting my respect of being called president, so Commander Cheeto it is. So you had this pump that happened, and 4 hours before, he said that the tariffs were going to be paused. On the grinder of Twitter's Truth Social, he posted, "It's a great time to buy." Well, then you had this pump that happened. So Bitcoin, okay, we rejected right where we had to. Okay, we had this resistance level, this OB, we rejected. Now you have a 4-hour bearish engulfing candle. We need to get above this 80. So where I see the strong resistance, it's a little bit higher than this. But if we are able to get above here, okay, then we can start talking about the resistance up here, which is the range highs. But as long as we are in this 82.5K is our mid-range. Here's the range lows. We swept it twice. This is our mid-range level. If we get above 84 to 85K, then we can talk about these range high levels. But we take it level by level. So we rejected right where we had to, and here is the neckline of this double bottom. Now a double bottom pattern looks something like this. Okay, let's send this to the back. So you have a downtrend, right? You have your neckline, which is here. Here's your resistance level. Okay, here's your first bottom. Here's your second bottom, right? We broke out from the neckline. We never actually retested it, so this level becomes an SR level. So if price comes back down to this 80K level, it must hold, because if we lose this level, we can go to a lower time frame. This was a mini range here. If we lose this level, so something as this, and turn it into resistance, okay, then this whole entire move was a deviation from this. And then we start talking back down to these levels here. Okay, 75. If this closes below and we turn it into resistance, now again, I would love it for it to be a 4-hour or the daily. If we close back below, there's two areas where you could take a scalp long, but the more we touch the 75K level, the more inclined I am to think that we go back to this previous all-time high, which we never got to. We got very close. Okay, so around 73.8. Okay, so if we lose that, there are two areas where you could look for scalp longs. Now, again, to those that are watching this for the first time or the people in the discords that I am in, if I give a chart or a play, it'll be given in my channel. These are just potential ideas. So let's say this prolongs a little bit more and we don't hold this level. Now this one's risky because we just had this breakout candle. Where do you place your stops? That's the question, right? Usually be something like this, but it's way too wide. I'd rather get stopped out somewhere around here. And then you have this order block / demand zone, which would also be in line with this retest of this breakout trend line. So this could be a potential another idea, but I don't want this one because, like I said, if we close back below here, this is just a deviation and we go back to these range low levels. But this, again, I'm putting out every single idea that you could possibly take. I'd prefer I honestly, if we come back down here, I want this retest of this previous all-time high, the 73K level. That's where I prefer to long. Do I think, this changed anything? No, I don't. I do think that this is just, another rally in the bear market. I've said this multiple times before. I'm not bullish until we are above 92 to 95K. This is all just noise to me. So coming back down to here's option 1, option 2. This is my preferred option 2, 73 to 69K level is where I would like to get long. But this double bottom formation you will see on a few other charts that I post today is what everyone is looking at, right? So if we retest here now, the double bottom target, okay, would be around 85K, which again is that strong level of resistance that I'm talking about. Okay, strong level here, strong level here to reject. Excuse me, I just sneezed. Don't know if that made it on the cut. Again, I don't edit my videos. I don't really care for an editor or content. Everything I post is raw. So a rejection, shorts around 85 to 86K are preferred. Now, where do you think I would be shorting? Well, there are a few areas where I would be looking to short. Okay, the first one, obviously, these range high levels. Now it's getting weaker and weaker with every single touch, but still valid. Okay. The other area where you could look for a potential short is going to be this level here that I was telling you guys about, 85 to 86K. Okay. Stops are going to be a little bit tighter because if we get stopped out here, it goes into the range high short. So you guys can pause this video and then you guys actually want to take these. These are the potential setups. Now, if we draw fibs from swing high to swing low, right, 786 fib lines up perfectly there. So it is good confluence. You also have this horizontal resistance and, this major supply zone as well. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for, or potential setups that I'm looking for on Bitcoin. The major level again that we have to hold is going to be this 80K level. Failure to retest and hold, if we close below, this is just a deviation, and again, I'm inclined to think we go lower. All right. Now let's talk about USDT dominance. Now, if you guys have been following my videos, here was that bull flag that I was talking about. Well, parallel channel. The target was met perfectly. Okay. Now again, weekly time frame, same double bottom formation, right? We rejected where we had to at the neckline. If we get above 6.12, okay, like I said, it's over. We go to 8.5. That is the next target. But let's talk about on lower time frames. Okay. We put in a double top. Now let's invert this chart really quickly. Would you look at that? Another double bottom formation, right? It's inverted, so this is double top. Now, if, again, we are bullish, this goes and rejects here at the neckline, which does take us to that 80K level, and then we continue up, just like here, right? Again, inverted. Here's the downtrend. Bottom 1, bottom 2. I love me some bottoms. Come there, right? There's the resistance, breakout point, retest of the breakout point, and there's your target. Okay. Now this would be the bullish scenario. Now, if we get back into this previous range and this is just a deviation, then this would line up perfectly with this closing below and this being a deviation. So these charts are inversely correlated. All right. Okay. Again, weekly, still in an uptrend. We rejected right where we had to. It's getting weaker and weaker. Again, I do think that this is just a rally. So don't get horny over longs just yet. The shittiest coin of all is ETH. And again, you will see this double bottom pattern as well. Okay, like I said, it's prevalent everywhere. Okay, this one's just a little bit lower. Now this one, okay, we actually had a bullish divergence with price making lower lows and RSI making lower highs. And this was a good long attempt to take. Now it rejected where it had to. And these were spot buys that I gave, in my channel, but it was previously resistance here. Let's go to a perp chart really quickly. Don't know what the fuck that is. Okay. So major supply zone here. That would be a good shorting opportunity. This probably brings it down a little bit more. Let's include those wicks. If price goes to here, it was previously support. Consolidation on support in a downtrend usually leads to a breakdown. It's exactly what happened. Now we can draw a trend line here. Okay. So yes, shorting ETH here gives beautiful R&R for much lower. It'll be the first test of this breakdown. Well, if you take a look at this on the 4-hour, it'll be the first test. We had a lower time frame test there. Now, this is also, let's go back to the 2-hour. Okay, this would also be a retest of the breakout for that neckline, but like I said, this one doesn't have a clear double bottom. This was just a bullish divergence that played out perfectly. For ETH, honestly, if we do get back down to this level here, that is a good attempt for a long. I'm already in a spot position. I don't want to be leveraged long on ETH. I don't really care for a leverage position on ETH, but that would be most likely the spot or the leverage position. Now this could easily go down and put in a triple bottom formation, okay, which would also be a third drive of that bullish div. But this would be a good area to get long. I'm not really confident in the markets going higher. Again, this is a rally to continue shorting. But if it doesn't if it holds the neckline here, okay, like I said, like other charts, that is a good area to get long. Otherwise, I'd be looking for lower, and this SR point down here makes beautiful sense to get long. All right, short up there. You can draw some fibs. Right, perfectly in lines with fibs there. So stops maybe a little bit higher. And that's the setup that I'm looking for on ETH, really. But again, I'm not really looking to get leveraged long on ETH. I think this is a shit coin. There are better coins to trade, and ones with actual volatility is the next one up is Sol. Okay, Sol remained very strong on this downtrend by Bitcoin. Bitcoin went up to from 75 to 80 and back down. Sol, same thing. It went to 95 up to 111 and then held that $100 level. Now, here's a mini range on Sol. Okay, let me go ahead and remove this. If this was our range, this was a deviation. And again, this isn't really a double bottom, but look, we were making lower highs with lows, right? And then we put in a higher low here, our first one. We can come back down, put in a second one there. This will also be a retest of this SR point, so a good area to long there. But honestly, like as long as this looks good, I honestly would love a deeper pull into this. Like setup wise, sure, but I'd rather have this setup. Okay, 107, like 50ish, with stops below 100 and target this move. Now this can come down here and still put in a higher low, which would also be a retest of this downtrend breakout point. And it would fall in line with the DCA point of the golden pocket. All right, so I do prefer this long here, but keep in mind that this long here at the SR point of 112 also may hold. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, both these plays are valid. Just one will get stopped out. I mean, you can enter there, DCA there if you want, and keep a wider stop, but it's up to you guys. Again, I'm already in this position in spot. I have spot Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, and SUI running, so I'm not really looking to add to leverage positions on those. All right. Now shorts, a move into the supply zone around 135 would be a very good shorting opportunity. And then I have a trigger short. Now this comes down here. Let's say it holds, or even comes back down here. Then you have an inverse head and shoulder pattern playing out. All right. So this is a great, in my opinion, one of the strongest coins still holding. But the trigger short would be, here is the supply zone. Okay. So I don't want to set limits because shorting strength doesn't make sense. And especially, setting limits for this market on shorts right now when all Commander Cheeto has to do is just tweet something and then, price completely shoots up. So I'd rather see reaction triggers. So although you have the supply zone here, I want to see a rejection and then consolidation under this resistance. And then I take a short and place my stops above the highs, just like how Bitcoin did here, right? You have the supply zone. Let's go to a lower time frame. And then we rejected, consolidated a little bit, and then, opening up shorts with stops above there made sense. All right. Um, Same thing for Sol here. That's the trigger for sure for the short, but this one around the supply zone a little bit higher. Limits there do make sense, but we're just so close to the mid-range level. I do expect us to reject from 125 to 127, but I want to see a reaction from that level first before taking any shorts. All right, so this is what I'm looking for on Sol. Now, the most bullish coin in the market is Fart Coin. Sol Beta, if Sol holds up well, this does as well. Gave multiple 20 plus unleveraged positions in the Discord on this call or on this coin. But let's break it down a little bit. Okay. So you have either an inverse head and shoulders or a cup and handle pattern, however you want to see it. I saw it as a cup and handle. Okay. So there's your cup. There is your bull flag. There's the breakout and retest perfectly of that bull flag. Okay. Now the technical targets of this bull flag is going to be the supply zone here, or this order block. You take the targets from the base of the cup, neckline up is around that target. All right. Now, if we are to get a retrace, one of the areas to bid is going to be this retest of the neckline. Now, just like the double bottoms that we saw on, where'd it go? Just like the retest that we saw on Bitcoin and ETH, this is another example. You had a breakout. Now this isn't a double bottom, but again, you can see this as an inverse head and shoulders pattern or a cup and handle. Playing the retest will pay dividends. So one of two areas where you could take a play on this. One would be the short at around, maybe a little bit lower, around $1. Okay, psychological level. There's no reason to be shorting this coin right now. It's very, very strong. Now, if we take, a play or a setup here at the retest point, this gives a very, very good opportunity to get long. Now, I enter this with spot because this is a pretty volatile coin. Entering spot here makes sense. Stops around, 40 cents manually. So here, close below this level, right? Then we fall back under this range. So I would place my manual stops there. This is not a leverage stop. Just keep that in mind. It's very wide, and you're an idiot if you take this on leverage. So that is one area where you could go long. Now, a leverage position would be this demand zone here. Now, this one, like I said, this coin is very, very volatile. So keep that in mind. But this is where I'd be looking to get long. Hopefully this retest provides a wick into this here. So it's a 4-cent variance from this neckline and this wick. So, hopefully it's a decent wick into it. But just keep in mind we may get front ran. All right, so you might want to enter in lightly here and DCA with stops below. And by this, I mean a very light position. You can always add higher. This is in an uptrend currently. Okay. And if we were to draw fibs from these lows to these highs, the golden pocket lines perfectly up with the support area. So entry and DCA with stops below here makes sense to me. All right. Now, do we get retraces in the market? Again, I'm not sure. When you have a move like this on Bitcoin, right? An explosive move, again, just like we had over here when he tweeted something, it was fully retraced. Every bullish tweet or every bullish event that we've had has been fully retraced. Is it the same or is it different this time? All right. So just keep that in the back of your heads. But I am inclined to think that right now we have clarity for the next 90 days, unless he changes his mind, right? He said tariffs are on pause for the next 90 days. So for the next 90 days, we should have somewhat of a reasonable price action development in the market, all right? What happens after that? Don't know. But for now, we have some sort of clarity, like I said, unless he changes his mind. So if we do get small retraces, or if we do get retraces in this type of environment, you want them to be shallow. You don't want deep retraces, because deep retraces, like I said, just like Bitcoin going under 80K, would just mean that this is just a deviation. So if you have this type of move in the markets, you want shallow dips, all right, and you want them to be bit heavily. And right now, if we take a look at the spot market, spot's only up. I mean, I wouldn't say up. It's about the same compared to perps, right? Maybe like a $10 premium. So it's healthy. We have a reset on the interest in the market, right? So I wouldn't say this is completely bullish. This is neutral. So we're not bullish. We're not bearish. We're just neutral here. All right. So I still think that we get some type of shallow dip. This is an area, this was an area for Bitcoin to retrace from. We still are at resistance here, and hopefully we can get a dip into this 80K region. And I know that is where you take a gamble and you long, all right? And if we close back below on the daily, then you cut your longs and you honestly look for shorts again, all right? Now the next coin that's been relatively strong, and again, I'm going over the spot positions that I recently gave in the discords, right? Sui. Sui had a very nice reaction. You know, I've been telling people to buy this coin and not worry about exact bottoms, but some people don't want to listen. It is what it is. Here is another attempt at a breakout for Sui. Okay. Now, we can do this fractal and fractal wise. Okay. Now you can do a long one. Right. Every time we've had this huge falling wedge, it's given a nice level to get up from. Now, we are at a very, very important part. Right. Here was previously resistance. Okay. Support. Lost it. Breakout above. Is this move just a deviation? We need to hold above this level to continue this grind higher. Okay. Our resistance levels are going to be here. And there. Okay. Now, just like Sol here, it held relatively well on this pullback. Okay, we put in our first higher low here. All right. If we get a deep retrace, not deep, but a shallow retrace, let's go to a lower time frame. And if these were the highs here, this demand zone is where I'd like to buy. So basically from, it may get front ran. It may get front ran here at $2, but $2 down to 188 provide a great buying opportunity for a target of almost 250. Okay, so again, a spot position on this one would be ideal because of how wide the stop is. But if you can manage your risk, where this is about a 2% or a 3% loss on your port if stops were to get hit on leverage, this would be a great opportunity to get into. Now, again, you have another order block down here. This would be a double bottom formation if we get down to here. But I expect, as long as we don't have a deep retrace to, below 80K, that this would be an area for, you might get, like I said, you might get front ran around $2, but this is a great area for Sui to come down to. Otherwise, you have this position here. Okay. Now, shorts, right? Shorts do make sense around here. Ideally, here's your, strong range high resistance. That's where I'd be looking to really short if we get a huge move up. Now ETH would have to push up as well. This was the original short that I gave in the Discord, but I canceled it just in case, Trump, sorry, not Trump, Commander Cheeto says something much more stupid that, pushes the market up, allows for insider trading to continue. But taking a short from this golden pocket, basically around 240 to 245 with stops above this wick, is the preferred short to take. Now the reason for that is because this trend line is getting weaker and weaker with every single touch, right? So we could have a nice breakout point, just like we did with Sol. Right? Huge move, hopefully into that 240 area. I can close my spot position and then look for shorts from there. All right. So these are the only coins that I've been currently trading personally and actively in the Discord, and they have been very nice in terms of volatility and setup wise. So these are the only coins on my current radar. Other coins that have been nice, that I'm not going to be going over. Hype has been really nice in terms of volatility and setup wise. Um, and the other one is Ondo. Okay, I won't be going over those because this will be a long video. I'll just share them in the Discord maybe tomorrow. But these are the coins that I'm looking for in terms of potential plays. All right, so that's it for me, guys. I will catch you guys later.